And sad news from Bloomington, Indiana last night. Brilliant basketball coach Bob Knight has passed away. Knight's family made that announcement last night on social media. He was surrounded by family at his home in Bloomington. Knight led the Indiana Hoosiers to 3 NCAA championships among college basketballs, of course, winningest coaches, 902 wins in 42 seasons at Army, Indiana, and Texas Tech. And when he was at Army, he was the head coach when he was 24 years old. One of his players was a little scrappy guy
named
Mike Krzyzewski. That's right. I'm sorry. What is that? Mike Krzyzewski. That's right. They remain close.
How do they get Krzyzewski out of that?
I don't know.
It's always bugged me.
I think that's one of the few guests that you were really terrified to interview.
Oh, Mr. Knight?
Yes.
Coach Knight? Oh,
yes.
God, yes. And
when he was here, everybody walked out of the room and left me in the room with him. And he was so kind and so nice.
I was alone with him for a while, too. Here's the thing about Coach Knight that I remember the most. And this is true of a lot of other athletes. You don't realize how big they are.
Physically big.
Yeah,
yes.
That's true.
Bob Knight was a tall man, not to mention
Tom,
very intimidating.
Before I start screaming and punching, will you recognize Ace has to have something to say?
Ace. He's the only black dude in the room. What is it, Ace?
I was going to add on a side note. Bobby Knight once hung up on me on the phone.
You know what? I don't blame him at all.
Wow. See, that's
don't blame him for a second.
What a smart man he was.
Well, what happened?
Why did he hang up on you?
You remember you guys used to do an all-day marathon broadcast for charity, and he was scheduled to be on the show. So he called while you were at lunch on a break, and I said, "Bobby, they'll be back at noon." And he goes, "It's Coach Knight." I said, "Well, Bobby, they'll be back at noon."
Well,
you didn't show him the respect he deserved.
He's not my coach.
Well,
I think
still,
it's
yes.
No, blame him. No, I really don't blame him.
Yeah,
He was one of my favorite guests. I really enjoyed meeting him in person. I was intimidated as well until
always
I
always wanted to talk about baseball or fishing. Did not want to talk about
loved to
basketball.
fish.
Yeah, we off the air talked about Ted Williams a lot. I had read that Ted Williams book recently.
Didn't he have a fishing show?
He might have.
Well, we had a number of fake shows that he hosted on that. We had some. We had one of our players could do an excellent Bob Knight voice. Well, some of those might be still airable, and with all due respect, I think. Maybe not. We'll find out.
He told me once. He said, "You're one of the few women that I really like in the world because you put up with as much as my wife does." And I loved him saying that. I go, "Thank you, Coach."
There we go. Well, yeah, sad news. I'm glad that he made his peace with Bloomington.
Me too. When he came back in 2020, that was pretty incredible.
A very sad note. The great Bobby Knight died yesterday, and there'll be a lot of tributes out there. I wanted to play a couple pieces. This first one is actually Coach Knight. This is a recording of Bob Knight, and you'll give it a listen. You'll see why I'm playing it right now.
When my time on earth is gone and my activities here are past, I want they bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my ass.
There you go.
Oh, that's Bob.
But we have a really rare piece, a Bob and Tom exclusive. Coach Knight was a friend of the show, and was in here several times, and we surprised him with this.
Love him or hate him, America has come to know the most controversial coach in college basketball history is Bobby Knight. Now, Bob and Tom Television presents Bob Knight, The Early Years.
Okay, boys. Hey, this is our first Little League game of the season. Now, let's just go out there and play hard and have some fun, huh? Hey, what's the matter, Bobby?
What's the matter? What's the matter? Fun? Who the do you think is out here to have fun?
Bobby.
This team has played like in practice.
Hey.
And now we're about to get our kicked by those over there on the other dugout.
What?
That's just great.
My goodness.
Bob Knight, The Early Years. You'll relive the experiences that helped shape one of the nation's best teachers of the game of basketball.
Now, children, what seems to be the problem here? Settle down now. Bobby Knight, get your finger out of your nose.
See this booger, Mrs. Simpkins? That's how you're teaching right now. Why don't you pick a better subject? What? As a matter of fact, why don't you go out in the hall and think about what the you are doing being the teacher anyway?
Oh, my.
The heartwarming youth of a legend. Bob Knight, The Early Years.
Is that the right way to write a bicycle, cards in the spokes. That's really cute. You gonna ride the junior high with those training wheels, or are you gonna grow up? You're almost 2.5, Demi. And tell your mom these cookies taste like
Coming soon to Bob and Tom Television.
There you go.
He was colorful.
The early years, yes, yes, yes.